Hey guys! So today I want to talk about 3-minute testimony. Sharing your testimony is going to be a great avenue for sharing the gospel, a great segue into what God is doing in your life, what He has done, kind of the change, the transformation, and then also leading into talking about their lives and what Christ can do for them, and just sharing the good news about Jesus Christ. So I want us to practice doing our testimony and sharing it in 3 minutes. Yes, like what we find a lot is like when we're out there, we're talking, we're on trains, we're moving. We learn in training camp, sharing the gospel is an inconvenience. You gotta get people out of their day and out of their routine. So they're not gonna have 2 hours to hear your testimony. Yeah, 3 minutes. We want to make it concise. We want to make it to the point. And if we have time to share more, we'll definitely share more. So we teach 3-minute testimony. The first minute is going to be life before Christ. Life before Christ, 1 minute. Life with Christ as far as like the encounter of finding Jesus, 1 minute. And then life after Christ, 1 minute. So those are kind of the guidelines to try to keep it into 3 minutes. You have one minute for all 3 of those things. Life before Christ, the encounter of finding Christ, life after Christ. So I'm going to model it, and I'm going to do mine. I'm going to record it, place it on the page. And if you can also practice yours, record yours, place it in the comment or the link of mine, we all can then hear each other's testimonies, which is great. Okay, so my testimony... Sorry, 1 minute. I was raised in a Christian home, knew who God was, knew a lot about Him, had great parents that modeled that very well, but never really fully understood what it was to have a real relationship with Christ, or even what it meant to actually live for Christ. So kind of naturally, just when I went to college, I stopped going to church. Then church didn't really have an impact in my life at that time. Started getting into the party scene, drank, smoked weed, made out with boys, whatever. But like with that, I say that casually, but with that like came a lot of hurt and pain as well. And things that I didn't have to go through, but because of my life choices, led to a lot of kind of meaningless in my life. And it was after I graduated college, I was living in DC. When I kind of call it my come to Jesus moment. And I was actually just laying in bed realizing like, okay, I graduated. I have a good job in DC. I have a good internship and a job. And I'm like, still feels very purposeless and meaningless, my life. I looked at everyone around me and they were successful, but they like weren't happy. And so I just kind of sat there. I was like, what is the meaning of this life? And I knew up to that point, I knew that God was real. Like I couldn't deny His existence in my life because I had seen it many times. But just in that moment, it would hit me of like, okay, if this is real, which I know it is real, it has to be more. Like it has to be more, and it has to be important too. Like this has to be the most important thing in the world if this is actually real, which I cannot deny it. So I actually left DC and moved to where my parents were in Boise, Idaho, and I lived there for 2 years. I call that my spiritual rehab time. Where I started to learn about Jesus, started to learn who He is, who He says I am, and how much He loves me. I did a Bible college for a year there. That was like where I really actually fell in love with Christ and really actually knew that I was changed. It was evident in my life. I was going to church like 3 times a week because of school and then church. And before then I was going like 3 times a year. And just, definitely consumed all of me and who I was. And then that led me onto the world race, which I have been here for 3 years, still here, and really learning what it is like to give all to the God and also to just live for Him and everything. He's just changed my whole life from being kind of like a crazy partier, which my Christian friends would be like, what? To like, you're in missions now, and like to being here. And that is what God has done in my life. So I think I did mine under than 3 minutes. I definitely didn't say everything of my story, but enough to kind of get the transition of my heart to Christ and also a little bit of what He's done. And that also, again, is just a segue into their story. So post your 3-minute stories. Don't go over. Love you guys. Bye.